Hello everyone, welcome to the session. And today we are starting with a completely new topic, atmosphere. I hope in our previous session we discussed about the earth, the dynamic nature of our earth crust specifically. You have a clarity on that. And I hope you have a clarity with respect to the processes associated with that dynamism. I hope you have a clarity with respect to the outcome of those processes in terms of landforms we discussed about, and I hope you have a clarity with respect to all the aspects and features with respect to those landforms. So here we are starting with a new topic, atmosphere climatology, you can say. In this topic you will get to know that how the different places on our earth surface used to receive different set of temperature, the different level of temperature, different time period with respect to the rainfall, seasonality. You can also consider to some extent what is the way in which the temperature or water vapor is spread out, which resulted into the difference in terms of the rainfall with respect to the one place to another place. You'll get to know about the cloud formation, when they will form, how they will form, what types of rainfall could be there, and yes, more importantly, how all of these aspects are linked with the human. Because when you learn about the geography, yes, you have to learn about the geography, but you have to more put focus on the interlinkages with the human. Because when UPSC will going to ask question in mains specifically, the approach of UPSC would be that how the learning of atmosphere could be applied with respect to the human life, and we will be learning in that way only. We will be learning that how this climate or weather is associated with the behavior of people, how the attire, food, culture, all of these practices. The diversity of India is intrinsically linked with the diversity of geography itself, diversity of atmosphere itself. It's because of the diversity of atmosphere you have a diversity of food, culture, everything. In every aspect you will see diversity in India. So let's begin with the atmosphere. So when I say atmosphere, atmosphere means what? Atmosphere means the envelope of air around the earth. So when we have an air which is surrounded or which is surrounding the earth, that will be termed as what? Atmosphere. Not only the air will be there, however, air will be in dominant composition in terms of proportion, if we say. So air will have a larger share, rest of the remaining share or the small share will also be there with respect to the water vapor, with respect to the some sort of solid particles as well. What are they and what will be their impacts, we will see in upcoming sessions. We will see about that, and yes, we will also be discussing about the global warming or climate change, just concept linkages. Okay, with respect to the climate change you will have a more clarity in environment. Moving ahead, atmosphere means what? Atmosphere means the the envelope of gases surrounded, or let's say surrounding the earth. And this envelope of gases, they are acting like a protection shield. They are protecting the biosphere. Biosphere, that means where the living organisms used to reside. So this air, or let's say these air layers which are there, they will going to protect the biosphere from outer space activities, which could be, as per some movies, aliens. Okay, to some extent I would say in this way, because in reality we haven't seen them as of now. Okay, publicly we haven't seen them as of now. So it is this envelope of air which is protecting the biosphere from the outer space, or let's say from the outer space threats, if they are there. I mean, we have a one outer space threat, that is the meteoroids. You might have seen shooting star in the sky. So that reason for the shooting star you'll get to know. But I would like to say in this way that the meteoroids which is there in this particular, let's say, arrangement, when the meteoroids is about to arrive on our earth's surface, about to impact the biosphere, it is the air which is protecting us from that. This air is actually acting like a blanket which is protecting us from those celestial bodies, how we will see later. So this This atmosphere is a dynamic system, and this atmosphere or this air which is there, that air will constantly interact with the land, constantly interact with the water, and yes, with the living organism, for example human, oxygen, CO2, we used to take them during the respiration. Atmosphere which we used to see nowadays, that might be the result of so many evolving factors, including those theories which we learned in the origin of our earth, including space. We discussed about the planetesimal theories, we discussed about the nebular hypothesis, I hope you remember. Okay, big bang theories, we discussed about that as well. So based on those theories, what we can say that the earth atmosphere which we used to see nowadays, that has been evolved, and in that evolution there is a greater role of volcanic eruption. Who knows, because of the eruption there might be introduction of CO2, and then rest of the process, photosynthesis or living organisms might have been there on our earth's surface, and then this atmosphere which we used to see nowadays, that has gone through the phenomenal transformation throughout the different phases of our geological history of earth. So basically, what we can say, these volcanic eruptions are actually telling us that how the atmosphere might have been originated. So with respect to this particular aspect, see, in optional we used to focus upon the deep dive. You have to pay attention with respect to the atmospheric evolution. But for the GS purposes, it is not that much necessary. However, I have given you a one reference, that based on those theories, what we can say, that volcanic eruption is one of the major constraint which is responsible, or major factor, you can say major factor which is responsible for the atmosphere which we used to see nowadays, the different composition of gases, the different material which is there, the different solid material, gaseous material, and liquid material, water vapor, which is there in our atmosphere, which is there in this particular air layer. Now, when it comes to the function, that what is the role of this atmosphere? Let's say it could be, with respect to the governing our life, with respect to the other aspects as well. So, with respect to the role can be played, which can be played by this atmosphere. So, the role is, first of all right. So, the role of this atmosphere is, first of all, it supports life, because in the atmosphere we have oxygen which is required for our respiration and for the plant survival. We used to release CO2, so symbiotic relationship, but that is being facilitated by atmosphere, this air layer. So life on earth is actually being there because of the atmosphere, because of the air, you can say, because of the oxygen, and yes, the respiration processes. Climate regulation is there. It is the air layer, or it is the surrounded air around the earth, which is actually separating some sort of, we can say, weather and climatic activities on a particular location. It is that particular layer which is filtering the solar radiation. It is that particular layer which is protecting us from ultraviolet radiation. It is we human, we are responsible that we are getting the ultraviolet radiation. It's because of the ozone depletion, it's because of our sins. So first of all, this earth used to protect, it used to shield from the harmful UV radiation throughout the ozone layer, which is there in the stratosphere, you will see. Then we have a temperature regulation. So this temperature regulation is also being an important aspect with respect to the life on our earth surface. So this temperature regulation is also being done by the atmosphere. So you will learn to know about the greenhouse gases, and yes, you will get to know about the moderating temperature, that how and what is the meaning of moderating temperature. Then the weather and climate of any particular specific area or location, why deserts are formed, okay, which area will have a which type of agriculture, wherever the rainfall will be greater, and accordingly what will be the nature of society, that is also being driven by the atmosphere itself, in terms of weather and climate, you can say. Okay. And with the weather and climate, there is also what? There is also heat distribution from one latitude to another latitude, from one region to another region. And yes, this atmosphere is responsible for maintaining the balance. It maintains the balance of gases which are essential for life. However, it's our sin. We have modified this composition of air in our atmosphere, and yes, we are facing the repercussions in terms of global warming or climate change nowadays. Yes, we will be discussing about the global warming, but concepts only. With respect to the climate change, with respect to the aspect associated with the environment, we're not going to deal here. You will get to know about those aspects in the separate sessions of environment. Okay.